Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Hi, Anna.
Hi, May.
How are you?
Whoa.
Yeah, these are loud.
Audio check.
Yeah. We are really excited today to talk about Anna's journey with generative AI at Comvault. I'd love to kick us off, Anna, with a little introduction about Comvault and your role there and what you all do.
Fantastic. So we are data protection, which is so fascinating that I get to have this conversation with you because nothing is challenging data protection than generative AI right now.
Yep.
Comvault's been around for 26 years, and we are the industry leader in protecting the world's data in a world of cybersecurity.
For those who don't know who Writer is, we are a full-stack generative AI company. And what does that mean? It means we combine a large language model with the AI guardrails that are absolutely necessary in the enterprise and a knowledge graph of a company's data, which allows these language models to be a lot more useful in the enterprise. And when we met Anna, she was incredibly excited about the potential for AI, had just started a new role. And I would love, Anna, for you to share with the audience, what was your first aha moment with generative where you thought, this could be really transformational for what I'm trying to do at Comvault?
Yeah, so when you take a new job, one of the first things, within the first 30, 60 days, you're constantly, you're doing your research, your analysis, you're talking to customers, you're talking to analysts, you're talking to investors, you're pulling together, a market landscape. And about that same time, it was my 30 days into deep research and analysis and where the market was going. And that was about the time in January when ChatGPT went cuckoo crazy, 100 million users, and it was like the news story, of the week. And so I decided, well, you know what? I'm going to put the essence of my research into ChatGPT. And instantly, what I had spent 30 days synthesizing to get my, hypothesis of what has to happen, and ChatGPT spit it out like right there. And I realized the power of what this is going to do in the name of synthesizing time to insights, quickly bringing in market points of view into areas like marketing where there could be a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy spent. So it becomes a very complementary tool into a go-to-market model. So I was intrigued instantly. And so at that moment, I was like, whoa, this marketing organization is going to own AI in our go-to-market. Like, we are going to own how to do this and how to do this well and right. And so we called you guys and we started right away.
Awesome. What had been your kind of executive peer-like interactions with AI when you said, you know what, marketing is going to own this initiative and I want to make sure that this is embedded on our team? Like, when you first started that conversation with fellow executives, were they as gung-ho as you? Were they as leaned in as you?
Luckily, Comvault's product has been using AI for years, just in its ability to bring in, risk intelligence and operational intelligence and backup and recovery intelligence, to customers. And so I think AI was already embedded into the heart of the company pretty well. But I do think when you start expanding out of engineering and you start going into HR and sales and finance, and it does become a little trickier. Like, I get that it has to be in the product, but are we really going to use this, across the board? And so one of the first things I think when we demoed the product, you immediately looked at, oh my gosh, if we're going to use it here, imagine, the customer success team using it. Imagine the product team. You could start to see the use cases, just grow instantly. And I think it was important to immediately get your stakeholders, because I'm sure that this industry is like every other industry that's happened around us. There's an app for that. And what happens when there's an app for that is that every single function goes and buys their own tool. And well, this is the AI tool we're going to use in marketing, and this is the one we're using in sales, and you lose the magic of the combining value of LLM when everyone's using it, separately, particularly when you're trying to train, the data a certain way as well. So part of our quick onboarding was we've got to get all stakeholders to be demoing this at the same time. If we're going to go into this, we want everyone to know the possibilities, but we want everyone to realize we're going to be better and stronger with one platform choice than a multitude across the business.
Yeah, I love that. What I thought was so special about your leadership in the enterprise rollout at Comvault is one of the things we are seeing in the market right now is kind of this like Goldilocks and the Three Bears kind of approach, where some enterprises are so scared they're baby bear, they're like, no one do anything with generative AI at all, everything's banned till I say so, till this task force has done its job. And then on the other extreme is a little bit of what you described of, everybody do whatever you want, experiment as much as possible, any tool is okay, let's like figure this out. And what you all did, I think, is the right approach, which is in the middle, a strategic, multi-stakeholder approach with the emphasis being on the learning and being on the actually like getting use cases into production and getting our hands dirty with experimentation. So it was like both secure and strategic, but also like, let's effing go. Let's like figure out where this is going to be useful and do it in a way where we're all sharing those learnings. So this is a talk about the use cases. I'd love to go there next and hear from you what types of use cases you all were really into. And maybe a note on folks who aren't familiar with our product. On top of that platform of the LLM and the knowledge graph and the guardrails, we've got a UI that's kind of composable elements. So it unlocks lots of different use cases for people across various teams. And so the Comvault use cases across your various functions, we thought were pretty interesting, and would love for you to tell folks what has been impactful across the various teams.
Yeah, so we knew we were going to tackle a pretty aggressive series of use cases because we were launching new product, we're repositioning our brand, we're changing our narrative. So all of these things produce a massive amount of content. And so the first thing was, both quick content creation. Can we train the data to the messages that we want to tell in the market? Can we train the data on our SEO strategy so that the messages that we're telling in the market and the content we're producing are synced with our SEO strategy? Can we quickly disseminate a whole new slew of content through being able to either co-write or custom write blogs, prospecting emails for the sales force, new web pages, even though I deeply believe in the art of advertising. Still, I love the tool's ability to quickly write, headlines and kind of actually put them up against the headlines that might have been more, advertising, written, and just to generate like ideation. There's something so interesting about the tool, particularly when you're launching and you're forming our message and what we're going to be and how we're going to take it to market. The tool ideates with you, so you're feeding it. It's throwing out suggestions, and again, you can co-write with it, you can ideate with it, or you can just flat out, write with it. So it helped with a large volume of content. But I would say the second piece that I loved, you have a feature called Analyze that's been my favorite. Again, you're launching something new into market, you're sitting through hours of customer meetings and prospects and interviews, and you're trying to learn everything you can about the market or analyst conversations, and to take a transcript, feed it in to Analyze. I mean, you could spend days trying to synthesize 36 hours worth of content from, interviews and discussions across multiple teams. And so to throw in the transcripts and to have the synthesization of, this is the customer, this is the pain point, here's what they're thinking about the market, here's what they're thinking about your product, here's what they're thinking about the competitors, just into like a paragraph. And then you could take that across, multiple customers. You could roll it up into an executive summary of the whole piece. That saves hours and hours. It also will inevitably save the industry a ton of money. And I still believe in the art of research and researchers, but the price that you pay in synthesizing and analyzing comes at time and money. And so it was a huge asset there as well.
That's awesome. Any pockets of adoption that surprised you across the organization as you guys rolled out generative AI?
Yeah. Well, I think even within marketing, I was so pleased to see the team quickly embrace how to use this for customer case studies. That's traditionally a lengthy process and expense and time and customer interviews, and then you write it and then you talk about it, and then what are approved customer quotes. And I think the tool was instrumental in here's the story, it's written for you, it's published for you, or it's not published, but it's ready for publishing, to pulling out your customer approved quotes. So now when people are searching, within the tool and they're going to write, a piece of content, they know they want to put in, a customer case study, to use the tool to go, yep, this was the approved quote. It pops right in. It just, again, this would take an organization. They would go into multiple platforms. Well, what's the customer reference tool that we're using? And how do I get access? And how do I find and it's just working across everything for you because you fed it exactly what you believe that, the organization needs to know from, compliance, rules and regulations. These are approved customers or not, but also the content that you want the organization using to proliferate. So in marketing, that was great. And then, I love seeing sales use it as well because, a sales voice and a marketing voice and a customer success and a support voice are three very different voices for a market. And I think those messages often get confused and conflated when reaching out to customers or prospects. And the tool is excellent in getting the right voice for the right kind of outreach and taking the stress off of people who would spend, again, agonized, do I have the right voice and the right message, and just makes it easy for them.
Yeah, especially as a narrative is shifting, especially as a new CMO has brought in a new brand story.
Exactly.
It is really hard. We've definitely seen those types of moments of challenge for a team actually be a good time to introduce a new technology to help folks do something that feels a little bit insurmountable without. And maybe with that, we transition a bit to your kind of adoption and rollout journey because, you've come in, guns a-blazing, like change is upon us, we're doing this. How did you bring everybody along? Because I think another incredible kind of a feature of your enterprise rollout is just the breadth and the depth of like everyone who's adopted has been, so hands-on. And for the audience who's not on our blog every day like I am, you may have not seen some of the work we've done about adoption. And, we as a user base tend to see 60 to 70% of users report kind of 30 to 40% productivity improvement, which on its own is amazing, right? And what is really amazing when you double click is that a fraction of those, 10 to 15% overall, are seeing and reporting 200% productivity improvement. And when we look at the usage pattern of Comvault users, we see a lot more than 10 to 15%, like really fall under the definition of power users for us. So, we've been intrigued by your story because like the secrets of Anna's rollout, we'd love to give everybody. So talk to us a little bit about, what made your team maybe lean in more and kind of react to your leadership and respond to your leadership, how they did, and what are the secrets there?
Well, I think the first thing is, for some reason, everyone's so scared of this. And look, I get it. I get security issues. So well, okay, so let's start with security
You
issues.
guys definitely get security issues.
Just take that off the table, because using an enterprise grade platform like yourself that understands the security issues, and that you're not taking private data and training your engine with private data, it immediately it takes a little bit of time to clear through security, but getting it through security and compliance, so everyone realizes I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm not going to be the person who used ChatGPT and took down the company, which was happening at about the time.
Samsung.
That was happening at the time we were deploying this in March. That's when ChatGPT was having its first kind of breaches, and everyone's like, whoa. So take the security off the table. Make sure you're choosing a platform, and you're syncing it with your security, CIO organization. Check. Second thing is, it's nothing to be scared of because it's secure. But B, guys, you've been using AI forever. I don't know why everyone just all of a sudden thinks it's new. It's like, what do you think account-based marketing is? All the tools, because you're already using it. The difference with this is getting everybody to quickly touch it and see it. And I think I would choose, instead of going, let's get a pocket of people and let's get 5 license and they'll explore. We put it out there, 80 license right away. Just go, everyone jump in, try it, let's get together, and then let's have a showcase. You only have to use it once or twice, and you already can't imagine your lives with it. And then that's when everybody gets together and they start sharing it. Oh my God, what if we used it for this? Could we use it for that? We should be using it for this. And so the power of, but you have to touch it and use it.
Yeah.
So quickly putting it in hands, be it however you want to work with an organization on a trial or on a kind of a think tank. Use it, come back, ideate, share, and then it just takes off like wildfire.
Yeah, I love that. The nodes of AI adoption inside of an organization being given kind of a platform to showcase what they and others have been able to do, that has been really powerful. And you guys have definitely done that. We had, pretty sure it was at Comvault, a user respond to one of our surveys and say, having writer is like someone brought donuts to the office and you ate all the donuts. So that definitely describes you all. What was the partnership with your CIO on generative AI? Because what we're seeing now across enterprise is a lot of CIOs getting into the conversation, rightfully so. And there being, from a adoption perspective, a little bit of tension in terms of the speed at which you go in adopting AI into workflows. Tell us a little bit about how that went down at Commvault, because we did have a really lengthy security review, but it also felt from the beginning that like they were stakeholders with an equal say at the table and not like gatekeepers. And so is that cultural at Comvault? How did that all work?
Yeah, it really is cultural, because I've worked at a lot of large enterprise organizations where you dread IT because they are the no people, and they're going to tell you all the reasons why you can't have the tool that's going to save the company, tons of money. And usually that comes into either security risk, expense, implementation priorities, or whatever. So, Commvault, part of the culture, but I think it's becoming more prevalent in a lot of IT organizations. Number one, IT and security have so overlapped and blended. So I think anybody putting in an enterprise application, is going to be under the very first thing, particularly anything AI, it's going to go under security. So start with them. You start with your CIO organization. They want you to be successful. They want the same things you want. They want it to be secure, but they want you to be more productive, and they want you to help the company win. And so I think we were always evaluating it like, okay, check, it meets our requirements. Now, how quickly can we help you guys get this going across the company, because they could see the value in it as well. And then I think the second thing is, again, back to my earlier comment, that there's an app for that has just taken over, enterprise organizations. You either have your no-code platforms, and so that doesn't require IT, and so that's, kind of proliferated. And then you've got your big, preferred, platforms, and and everyone's trying to consolidate and create the user friendliness that the organization wants, but also the risk and compliance concerns that the organization has to manage against. And so I think being able to look at a platform that quickly you realize, okay, this company can grow with it. We can do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of use cases. This isn't just a tool for marketing. This can be a tool that can grow cross-functionally across the company. Making the tool itself, more powerful. I think it's important, and working with an IT team, you want to make sure your investment's going to be prudent.
I love that. And I actually, for our own marketing, I hadn't realized the nice analogy with no code, actually, in terms of bringing IT organizations to the fold. So that is, I'm going to borrow that.
Let's take it away.
Yeah. From a responsible and ethical AI perspective, you've been a marketer for a long time. You have recruited and nurtured creative people. How have you thought about some of the more philosophical concerns around AI adoption, especially in light of the macro that we're in, and the fact that so many organizations that we're a part of, are downsizing at the same time as we're introducing this technology?
Yes, I think what is deeply important to me is that it is human-led AI or human-trained AI, and I think there is clearly a role for the humans, with the tool. I think when the tool takes off and it can grow, clearly into a completely different beast. That's what was interesting in how this tool has been, set up and in the training data. You're training it in the parameters that you're humans, are hoping it can communicate, can help them get, tighter on language, more pointed on points of view. The tool isn't giving you the point of view. Like, you're training it to take it to the places that you want to go. Now, look, I do think it will replace some jobs. I really do. I mean, content has always been king, and this is a tool for content creation at massive scale. So it will reduce some of that. But I do think the content being human-led and in some kind of control of the human point of view, I think is critical.
Yeah, I think I agree on definitely those points. And the two critical pieces for us in kind of successful rollouts is, number one, you have trained and recruited incredible expert professionals. And if you tell them, I am going to introduce you to a tool and that output isn't as good as what they write, they are going to be very pissed.
Yeah.
And that is not going to do anybody any favors. I think so choosing just a really high quality product is important. I think the second thing is when you have trained a generative AI model, and we train by use case because we feel like fine-tuning an underlying model is sort of like sand in the desert. But when you are trained by use case, you need fewer examples and you get much higher quality output. But when you do that, you're bringing your expert into the process, so they feel like, and they are, learning brand new skills in a real fun, exciting environment. And it is their own content and hard work that they're building a model off of. And so that expert AI balance is actually achieved in a way that people feel real ownership over. And I think your team has really done that, and it's been great.
Look, it's a tool for democratization. As you were saying, I was just thinking, even in our own product, one of the things that I love is that our product, backup recovery, we sell to a backup administrator, not necessarily a code junkie, but the AI takes code, it puts it into English, and it makes the code something that the backup administrator can now work with the code without having to go and require more heavy code or dev implementation. Your product does the exact same thing. It's democratizing the art of writing and communication into people who might not necessarily be fantastic communicators or writers, but then it's allowing them to use the benefit of that into their go to market. So it's incredible leveling playing field, and I think it's going to change a lot of marketing organizations.
Yeah, awesome. Anna, in the last couple of minutes that we've got left, maybe top 2 or 3 pieces of advice for folks who are maybe in the audience starting a program from scratch within marketing or non-marketing, but are really thinking about enterprise rollout.
Enterprise rollout. Okay. Let's see. Number 1, show your personal understanding and enthusiasm for the topic. I think a lot of people relegate this to we're going to go stand up a task force and they're going to go do this, and it gets delegated, and the CMO says, come back with a whole study of how we should be using AI in the org. You already know the answer. You should, period. So quickly you have your own point of view and your enthusiasm for an initiative, and you get followers faster, always. Number 2, always in adoption, quick wins. Put it to the test, show some really interesting capabilities, and let people see what the end destination looks like. It's like when you're driving to Disney World as a kid, and it's a 13-hour drive from North Carolina to Orlando, and you're like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And you kind of don't care at the end. You're just so tired because it took forever to get there. If you can show someone how quickly Disney World is going to be so amazing, you'll go on the 13-hour journey. So you got to show somebody the end destination quickly, and then they'll adjust and they'll endure training or other elements that may be required to get full successful rollout.
Yeah. I love that so much. Thank you so much. This was so fun. I hope folks found useful tidbits in there. We're around at the writer booth, and I can't thank you enough, Anna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, May. Congratulations on a great product.
Thank you. Thanks.